We are the New York Knicks. I'm back. Rocking in New York. Well, it's the Knicks. New York. We are the New York Knicks. New York. For this new season we're about to enter, the Knicks taking no shorts just like winter.
New York, New York.
New York be about the Knicks, huh?
But the best thing about New York City is
K-N-I-C-K-S.
Everybody say go New York, go New York, go!
Hey, welcome to the New York Knicks podcast, episode 447, part of the Almighty Baller Podcast Network and Dash Radio. I am Jay. How you doing, Mark?
Good. How are you doing?
Oh, just great. Just great.
You sound really, whatever. You sound really great. Tell everyone what you've been up to.
I've been laying under the covers shivering with the flu for days. So this is day 7, and my voice still sounds like this, which shows you how good I was feeling a few days ago.
Laying under the covers and shivering should have been the Knicks' strategy for the last 2 weeks. We have been off for 2 weeks, but that strategy would have been just as effective as showing up to the games.
Well, I think that's the name of the play they were running on defense.
I don't think they run a... Do you think there's anything where... Like, there was a timeout. I saw one of the games. The Knicks have just lost a lot of games.
So we've been off for 2 weeks, and the Knicks said we were not going to cover one Knicks win. No,
not 1-2 Knicks win. There's one play, I guess, there was a timeout, and out of a timeout, you're supposed to run a set play. They even said, like, I guess it might have been Wally Zerback who took a lot of games. He's like, the Knicks are calling a set play here, and then the set play ends up being, I think, it might have been like Alonzo Trier shooting a 20-foot fadeaway jump shot.
Well, that's a play.
I mean, I assume that wasn't the play they called, but has Fitz ever really called a play out of a timeout that you're like, oh, good play?
No, he should get an assistant coach that's really good at a timeout plays. I like a lot of what Fizz is doing, but yeah, that's definitely a weakness.
What do you like? I'm all on Fitz coming back next year, but what do you like that Fitz is doing?
I like that
that's a bold statement. You like what Fitz is doing.
Well, I like that he's willing to take bold chances. He started 3 guys last game that I thought wouldn't even be on the team a month ago. So he's willing to say, hey, you know what? Cantor's not that good. Let's start Luke Cornett and see what happens.
Fair point. Yeah, people are I think are getting on the Knicks, are getting on Fizz. For one thing, there's some things that are fair. Like he doesn't have a complicated offense, right?
Right. But he doesn't have good players, so
yeah.
You know, how complicated do you want to get it when you have a bunch of like first, second, or like players that were rejected from other teams? Like, how complicated do you want to get?
I mean, you really have to have a solid rotation to have a complicated offense. And it's hard to have a solid rotation when you have blah, basically. It's hard. Like, they don't have a good team, so it's hard to have a solid rotation.
Yeah. I mean, I think he's still looking for a group that can consistently play. I mean, there's no guy on the team that has consistently played like all 4 quarters, and you're like, oh my God, like this is part of the rotation. I mean
there is one guy,
yeah,
KP, but he can't play right now.
Well, I want to see him be healthy. I mean, you might be able to argue Kevin Knox looks like he's going to be a piece for the future. Good, but there's still like 7-8 more spots to fill.
I mean, but it's also Knox. Knox has looked good. He's looked bad at times. He's looked good at times, and I'm excited about him. And he's got to keep playing. And it seems like at this point, it doesn't look like Knox will be benched anytime soon. Even though the last 2 games haven't been so good. But there was a game against, I think, the Bucks game, one of the Bucks games where Ntilikina was benched, and like in favor of Burke. And you may say like, well, Trey Burke has looked like crap for a while. Why would he get the chance to start? And why is it Ntilikina? But Ntilikina has looked pretty goddamn bad also. So the only justification for keep playing Ntilikina is because you're all in on him, not because of his play on the court.
Right. He's not doing anything to earn his minutes right now. So as much as you want to see him play and develop, it sends a weird message if you're like, yeah, he's our starter no matter what. Kind of like what Philly did with Fultz, and it didn't work out.
Yeah. I mean, it's not even the earning. Like, if if Fizdale's just looking at the roster and going, who deserves minutes, he can easily give anyone a DNP any night because they're all playing like trash.
Yeah.
So, like, do you know how to best develop a player?
Not really. I mean, you say put him out there no matter what, but then if he consistently sucks, that might get in his head as well. So
I have no idea how to best do it. The Knicks, it's really hard to develop a player. And so maybe, and some people have said, like, well, Trier looks bad lately. Let's give him a DNP. Like, maybe Fitz says each player is different. He thinks some players, you keep playing them, and some players, a DNP maybe will help restart their confidence. The Ntilikina had, so last night they played the Utah, last night the Knicks faced the Utah Jazz. I don't know if they played them. But Ntilikina had one great dunk and then just stopped playing the rest of the game.
he's like, my mission complete.
He's like, I was aggressive there. I'm done now. Does Ntilikina still play defense?
I mean, you couldn't tell yesterday. Exum had like video game stats by the half. And luckily I had Gobert on my fantasy team, so I wasn't complaining about that. But like, I think Gobert had 23 and 14 by the half.
I mean, there was one play where I think Moutier and Vonleh on the pick and roll against Gobert, and I forget who the ball handler was. It might have been Mitchell. And basically, Gobert ends up basically dunking. And you kill, and I guess like in the people, I guess the announcer was like, well, Dotson should have gotten there to help out faster. But part of the problem was Vonleh and Moutier both went to the guy with the ball, and so Rudy Gobert, who's 7'11", like he's a gigantic individual, just walks to the basket unguarded. So of course he gets the ball and just dunks.
Yeah, it's nobody's playing really good. You keep hearing about Frank's defense and Vonleh's defense, yet everyone they play seems to go off. So
I feel like Ntilikina would not be getting the DMPs and would be getting more minutes if his defense looked his defense has not looked that great this year. I understand we like his defense, but it has not been as good as it was last year.
True.
But did you know, actually, did you know we have one of the best defensive, I'm not talking about Ntilikina, but we have one of the best defensive players in the history of time on the Knicks?
Oh yeah, who's that?
So you're gonna have to see if you can figure it out. This is the guy that is, I guess, basically the best nickname for him is he's the Greek Freak Stopper.
Oh well, I know who it is now.
Who is it?
It's Vonleh.
Yes,
Noah
Vonleh. If you do not know, and maybe you do know, but because we talked about this before, but he is one of the best players against Giannis. I could not pronounce it. The Greek Freak, one of the best players against defending Giannis in all of the league. There's a lot of celebrations. If you looked on Twitter and popular Knicks blogs, like a lot of celebration over how well Vonleh defended Giannis.
And then you look at read his box score. It was
wait. Before you introduce the box score. Of the 15 players to defend Giannis for at least 35 possessions, this was a popular tweet from who sent this out? This was from Mike Borkanov. Whatever. He's got the blue check, so he's a big name on Twitter.
Mm-hmm.
Borkarov. How do you pronounce it?
I don't know.
Who cares? Of the 15 players to defend Giannis for at least 35 possessions, he has held Giannis the 5th lowest shooting percentage. So he's top 5 of 35 players to defend Giannis.
Okay, that's good. That's really good.
Yeah, so he's shutting him down.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what shutting him down looks like?
Tell me.
He has shot of those possessions. He has shot 25 for 48 for 52%. So he's shooting all-star level numbers against Noah Vonleh.
But he's
top 5. He the last game the Knicks played, the 2 games he played against the 2 recent games this week, he held Greek Freak in check for 30 points, 14 rebounds, 3 assists, 4 steals, and 2 blocks. And he held the Greek Freak in check for 31 points, 14 rebounds, 8 assists, a steal, and 4 blocks.
You know,
But six turnovers.
I thought you were kidding about the field goal percentage, but he's shooting 59% for the season. So I guess he is technically doing something.
He is technically doing something. The rest of it, I guess he's shooting 58% against everyone else. So 52% against Bonley. He is holding him to slightly worse all-star numbers. But I just found this funny because people were like trumpeting how well he played defense against the Greek Freak, which basically comes down to the Greek Freak missed 1 or 2 shots accidentally against Vonleh.
Right.
I watched them play. Like, the defense, it looked like Vonleh was doing a lot of effort against the Greek Freak, and the Greek Freak may have been getting some foul calls to his advantage, but he did not shut him down.
No.
It was to the point where I was listening to some other people talk about it, saying how other teams might want to trade for Vonleh as basically a Giannis stopper for the playoffs. And I was like, wow, if teams want to do that, I'm all in on that.
Right.
I just found that hilarious.
So let's talk about the roster moves that the Knicks made since the last show.
Okay.
So let's have a moment of silence for Ron Baker, who's no longer with the team.
I thought he was cut. I thought he was already cut in last. Whatever. Okay. Moment of silence for Ron Baker.
So Ron Baker is immediately picked up by the Wizards. So our prediction of the China League was off a little bit.
You know who they also have, and going back to where are they now?
Mm.
They have Jason Randall.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
He was kind of a Knick for a little while.
So Baker has already played 43 minutes. He is yet to score for the Wizards, but he's getting minutes. So and John Wall just went down for the season, so Baker might be in a good opportunity right there.
He was actually benched last night,
which I was surprised. Wall was out, and Baker still got 0 minutes.
What's a worse sign for the Wizards season? John Wall being out for the rest of the season, or that their roster was in a certain state where they said, "Okay, let's sign Ron Baker." I'm thinking the Ron Baker thing is a worse, because you could have had a good season and signed John Wall. I mean, had John Wall go down for an injury, but this is hopefully he plays a lot in Washington. I think they could probably take. There are probably 10 guys in the G League that would be probably as good or better than Ron Baker.
You know, I was trying to have a nice Ron Baker episode.
You don't think so? I don't think he's an NBA player. His offense is just not there. I don't think he'll ever be able to play offense in the NBA. Maybe not. I think if he goes down to the YMCA, he'll school everyone all day. And people will be like, "You're really good." And he's like, "Yeah." They don't tell me that in the NBA.
Other things of note, Luke Cornett was moved into the starting lineup and had a 7 3-pointer game.
That was pretty good. And he followed up with another 5 3-pointers last night, right?
Yeah, at the expense of Cantor, who is now throwing a little temper tantrum and pouted, got himself ejected the first game he was benched, and went 0 for 6 the second game and got himself traded from my fantasy team.
I don't understand. This is too early in the season to shut me down. My goal is to go out there and try to be an all-star this season. That was my goal. But now, look at the situation. You can't do anything about it. You've got to just stay positive. I just got to stay positive.
By getting yourself ejected and not hitting any shots.
He had no. Was this the first time he ever played where he didn't get any points for the Knicks?
Maybe. I mean, you know, if you're trying to be an all-star, all-stars can also come off the bench and not shoot 0%.
He said, I think it's another quote which I don't have in front of me, where he said, "This is okay if we're winning, but this is not. If we don't, this doesn't result in winning. It's not okay." Which is weird because Cantor starting didn't result in winning. So
I am all out on Cantor. Well, obviously I traded him, but
can you apologize to the fans? Because for a long time you were not out on Cantor. For up until last episode, you said I will take Cantor on a reasonable deal for next year.
Yeah, I didn't realize he also had a crappy attitude.
You didn't realize last time he was benched that he had a crappy attitude?
I heard he wasn't happy about it, but he wasn't publicly tweeting about it constantly.
I forget who said it, but there's another NBA player who basically said about him was like, Cantor, he gets his, and that's all that matters to him.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I mean, his defense is absurd. Like,
Yeah.
he's like, what did you say? What you gave him a stat, basically. We were talking before the show. BPMs?
Yeah, back pedals per minute. That's the new defensive stat that I think we should implement, and I think Cantor would lead the league.
Yeah, I've never seen a center back off guys that are coming at him more so. Like, guys feel so comfortable from 5 feet away from the basket. Cantor just kind of goes, take your shot already. I need my rebound.
Exactly. I was thinking, I was looking, and I was like, should I got a trade offer for him, which was very good timing. And I looked back at his last, 14 games or so. He has 2 blocks, because to get a block, you need to be within the vicinity of another opposing player. And he doesn't do that. So hopefully Wendell Carter Jr. will work out better.
I mean, I'm surprised when I think Cantor's I can't imagine Cantor's minutes going like he. I mean, I guess this whole team sucks, so he could end up starting again. But I feel like his playing time is going to be more limited once Robinson gets back.
I think his attitude's wearing out his welcome. That's the problem. Yeah, if he starts again, he can average, almost 20 and 10 again. But with his attitude, they might just say, well, when Robinson comes back, you're just done.
I mean, do you think it's really his attitude or his play on the court?
I think it's more his play on the court. If he was playing well, he wouldn't have got benched in the first place. But
I mean, if Luke Cornett is not good, he may be a better version of Steve Novak, which is solid and a guy that you wouldn't mind having your 14th or 15th guy on the roster. But if Luke Cornett takes your starting job, you are having a terrible season.
Yeah, I went on Twitter, and half of the responses to Cantor's facepalm tweet were saying how he's the best guy on the team, and this makes no sense. I didn't realize that many NBA fans just don't pay attention to defense at all.
I mean, it's also, you really need defense from a center, and Cornett is not exactly a world beater on defense, but he at least tries in his limited sense to challenge guys on defense.
Yeah, he tries, and he I think knows where to go. He may not be able to get there, but at least he's like, oh, I should be over there now. And
there was a play in the Jazz game, and first of all, the Knicks played almost no defense in the Jazz game. This may be the one defensive play they made the entire game. But the Jazz were swinging around the arc for basically going for a 3, and Cornett was aware enough to cut off where the ball was going and basically stop them from getting the open 3-point shot.
Right.
Which is what you want. You guys, there's no way in a million years Cantor would ever cut off a pass for a 3-point shot.
No, he would turn his back, hope the guy missed the shot so he can get a rebound.
And you could see just when he's out there, Cornett's not good. But the Jazz didn't feel quite as comfortable just driving to the lane and taking 5-foot jump shots.
Right. Whereas Devin Booker was just trolling Cantor on Twitter after the Suns beat them, saying pick and roll at 0-0 every play.
Yeah.
So when one of the worst defenders in the league and Devin Booker is taunting your defense, that is a problem.
I mean, so 2 things. I don't think the Knicks should cut him because I care about draft position. But if the Knicks did cut him, is any playoff team picking him up?
I could see him getting picked up to play 10 minutes a game on a team who had an injury or is really just hurting for a big body.
I mean, in some respect, if you want on a good enough team, you put him on the Golden State Warriors. They have so many guys that can play. Would they hide him? Could they do enough to hide him on defense that he would be a very helpful member of that team? Putting him out there for 20 minutes a game, 15, 20 minutes off the bench for Golden State, could that work?
In theory, yeah. If you surround him with 3 or 4 other really good defenders, it could work.
Yeah. Put him next to Draymond Green.
Right, yeah. Something like that. And then, you still got Durant and Thompson out there. It's a lot easier to make up for it.
But are you in favor of the Knicks cutting him?
No, I don't think they should cut him, but I agree that they should have him come off the bench and play 15 minutes a game now.
Yeah. And Mitchell Robinson, like, if he could just stay in the court, his defense looks really good. By the way, since last show, just to keep everyone up to date, the Knicks lost to the Suns, to the Sixers, to the Hawks, to the Bucks again, to the Jazz, to the Nuggets, and to the they're going to lose to the Nuggets on January 1st. Their schedule coming up. The Knicks may not win a game in January.
It's a really, really rough schedule. This was the easy portion of the schedule.
Let's see. Okay, let's guess the Knicks' next win.
Okay.
They got the Nuggets on January 1st, then the Lakers, then the Trailblazers. Stop me when you think there's going to be a win. Then the Warriors.
Those were all road games, by the way.
Those are all road games. Yeah, not a shot. Okay, then the Pacers at home, then the 76ers at home. Then I'm going to try to go to that 76er game also. It's an Sunday afternoon game. I'm going to try to take my son to that. Hopefully the Sixers don't crush the Knicks. Then the Wizards.
There you go. There you go. Wizards without Wall, 4 days rest, home game. If they can't win that, I don't know what to say.
I'm calling it Nick Effect, Ron Baker.
Yeah.
If Ron Baker goes for like triple-double against the Knicks. So you take a win there against the Wizards.
Mm-hmm.
Then the Thunder, Thunder at home, Rockets at home, the Nets in Brooklyn, which is basically at home. Then the Heat at home, and the Hornets on the road, and then the Mavericks at home. Maybe 2 wins in January.
Yeah,
it's gonna be brutal. But Knicks are second in the tank race.
I mean, if you're hoping for a really good draft pick, we're in a very good position now. Tied for the second worst record with 10 difficult games in a row coming up.
So the Knicks roster is trash. It's basically trash, right? No one's like Moutier had looked good for a little while. You could bring him back on a like all these guys. Also, as far as can we bring them back, they're all. If you want to bring Moutier back, if you want to bring Vonleh back, if you want to bring, I don't know, Trey Burke back, they're all going to get very little money. So you could bring them back if you wanted to.
Mm-hmm.
Like, do you think Vonleh's going to get a big contract?
No, probably not.
Like, people were saying, like, he might get, like, $10, $12, $15 million a year. He can shoot threes. He does all these things. I'm watching the games. Vonleh's going to get, like, $5 million a year.
I'd be shocked if he got more than 7. I'd be very surprised.
I mean, people are all growing crazy about, like, his 3-point shooting percentage. He shoots 2 threes a game. If you shoot a high shooting percentage, but you only shoot 2 threes a game, it doesn't matter that much.
Right.
If you're shooting 6 a game, then it does. Anyway, so our big thing we want to do for today's show is the roster's crap. We need players, and you can get them through the draft, or you can trade for them. And the draft is a long time from now, so we came up with some trades.
Yep. So we made a trade. I made trade proposals for every Western Conference team. Mark did the same for the East, and we'll run these by each other. We tried to make them realistic so that both teams would say yes.
Yeah, so the idea here was that 29 other teams in the NBA, we are going to be forced to make a trade with every one of those teams in the league. As Jay said, he got the West, I got the East. We're going to go for our trades, and the other person goes yay or nay. We have to make the trade realistic enough that the other team would entertain this trade.
Yeah.
Let's see what we can come up with. Let's see if we can vote in the top 5 here.
Okay.
So, you want to go first, or should I go? You know what? You should go first because I have since I did the East, I have one less team than you did.
Okay. So I'm starting with the Dallas Mavericks.
Okay. Oh, let me pull up the ESPN trade machine. I want to see what you're doing here.
These all work in the trade machine. I've tested them all out.
Did you include? Okay, so just to let everyone also know, I said to Jay before the show that it should be. We're going to include KP in the draft. You can include KP. You can include draft picks. You can trade anyone as long as it would work in the draft machine.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, in the ESPN trade machine.
Yeah.
But I want to see. So we got the Knicks, and you're taking the Mavericks.
Yeah.
And I'm just going to go see. I just want to see this as you're doing it. So what was your trade here?
My trade was the Knicks trade Ntilikina.
Ooh. You're going to trade Ntilikina. You are a horrible human being.
This is going to piss everybody off. So,
I have a couple to piss people off also because you have to make trades. Let's make them fun.
Ntilikina for Dennis Smith Jr.
Why?
Why? Because everyone on the Knicks is mad at Frank because he can't play offense, and everyone on the Mavericks is mad at Smith because he can't play defense. Let's show each team why they shouldn't be upset because the grass is not always greener. We get Dennis Smith Jr. and everyone's gonna be like, "Oh my God, he can't cover anybody. I hate this," and it will show the fan base that they should settle down about defense.
Ring ring. Hello, Jay. Hello.
Yeah.
Hi. This is Mark Cuban. Even though I don't sound like him. It's 3 months from now. You know the Ntilikina for Dennis Smith trade?
Yeah.
Can we get backsies on this?
Can we just get backsies on the draft itself? Because I don't like this trade either way.
Can we all just go back and draft Donovan Mitchell?
Right. I mean,
Malik
I'll
Monk
take.
sucks also. Okay, goodbye. Oh my God. By the way, if you look at the Knicks have to lose every game. Like it is so the draft position is so important. You look at the last couple drafts. Like if the Knicks didn't, I love Kevin Knox, but if the Knicks had lost a couple more games, they could have had Doncic, who looks like he's a game changer for Dallas.
Yeah, I said that a while ago. Or remember when I was saying, "Hey, let's lose a couple more games," and people are like, "No, we got to build a winning culture." And then now De'Aaron Fox looks amazing.
Yeah, that's my next example. De'Aaron Fox looks great. Winning culture. We're building a winning culture. We're about to have the worst season in Knicks history. Do you think this team will this team top the 17-win team? The worst team in the NBA in Knicks history was Phil's first season. They won 17 games. This team right now has 9 victories. Will they win 8 more games the rest of the season? Keeping in mind that we just said January, maybe 2 victories.
I know. I mean, you never know with the Knicks, though. They could always snap off like a 3-game winning streak and then move up 5 spots.
They will at the end of the season, I guess.
Yeah.
But holy this team is bad. And the team does not seem like they're as bad as the I mean, they're not as bad as the 17-win team, right?
I don't think so, but it could be close.
Yeah, I mean, I guess at the end of the day, like, wins are wins. If they're getting those wins, they got 17 wins that season. I mean, half the year was with Melo. For the 17-win season, they started off 2-1, and then obviously only won 15 games the rest of the year. And Melo was out for half the season, but they won, I think, about the same amount of games before and after Melo. So even after Melo, they were able to pull some wins. Like having Langston Galloway and who was the other guy we all liked that year? The guy that didn't come back? The Russian dude?
Shved?
Yeah, we were all in on Shved and Langston Galloway, and apparently those 2 guys might be better than the guys we have on our team.
Yeah. I'm just looking. So I didn't include any first-round draft picks in any of my trade scenarios because I'm just looking at 2016. Like, there's so many good players, and the Knicks didn't have a chance at any of them because they traded their draft pick.
Who? The problem is that if the Knicks had gotten like a top pick, they would have drafted like Markelle Fultz or drafted.
No. 2016 was Simmons, Ingram, Jaylen Brown were the top 3.
I thought we didn't have a draft pick that year.
Right. That's because they traded it. That's why I said I didn't include any.
Yeah.
And then you go down to like 6, 7. You had Buddy Hield, Jamal Murray. You had Sabonis. Like, there's so many good players.
Oh my God. I include some draft picks here, but okay. So I'm going to vote down your trade.
Yeah.
Even though I understand the reason for it,
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying this is a top 5 trade for us.
No, that was more of a teach you a lesson trade.
Okay. So my first trade here, it is, we bloat it up. We're making a trade with the Boston Celtics.
Mm-hmm.
We are giving them Enes Kanter and Timmy Hardaway.
Mm-hmm.
And we are getting back Gordon Hayward and Terry Rozier. And the logic here is that the Celtics saved some money on Gordon Hayward.
Mm-hmm. Because he's been pretty bad this season.
Yeah, so he's owed $31 million a year for the next 3 years or whatever. And Hardaway's owed 17, so you get like $14 million back. And Hardaway is more pure. The Celtics have issues with offense. Hardaway would be an excellent 6-man. And his defense wouldn't matter as much. The Celtics probably would make him a better defender.
Mm-hmm.
Cantor's just there to like make the money work. And Terry Rozier is a 1-year deal, which the Celtics are unlikely to bring him back. So the argument is that maybe the Knicks could try out Terry Rozier because they don't really have a point guard anyway. Try him out for the rest of the season and see if he's worth bringing back.
Yeah, I mean, both players are significantly underperforming from their expectations. So, and Boston's got a lot of players, and they don't really need those guys.
Yeah, and Haywood, like, even though he's having a terrible year, he was an all-star very recently. So maybe you swing for the fences here, and maybe he comes to the Knicks, gets his act together, and ends up being an all-star for the Knicks.
Mm-hmm.
And he's a small forward. We need a small forward. He plays defense.
Cantor wouldn't get a minute on that team, though.
I mean, but I Cantor's just there for the money. And his money, basically the money goes off to the Celtics. Basically have a better six man who fits in well versus a Hayward, which you have to start. He's not working coming off the bench, and you get money off the books, so you can use that money to re-sign Jaylen Brown or Tatum or whoever else.
Yeah,
I think it's a pretty good trade.
Yeah, no, that is a pretty good trade.
Are you gonna say is this top 5 worthy?
I think it might be, yeah.
Okay, I'm going to put a star next to it. I'll erase the ones that are not top 5 worthy, but apparently I'm taking this seriously, and you suck at this. Go on.
All right, so I got Denver Nuggets.
Okay, let me pull up the Denver Nuggets to see what you're doing here. Okay, Denver Nuggets.
So the Knicks are trading Cantor and Hazonia.
Cantor and Hazonia. Okay, I like that. And you can give me the justification after, okay?
Yeah. And they're getting back Paul Millsap.
How many years is Millsap a free agent?
No, he has one more year at $30 million.
Okay, so lay it out. Why does this trade make sense?
Millsap hasn't played all season.
Yep.
And Denver's still in first place. So maybe Denver goes, we want to clear up some cap space.
Okay.
We don't really need Millsap. And so let's take a waiver on Hazonia. Maybe he'll work out, maybe he won't. But we clear up $30 million in cap space, and we could sign maybe a max next year, or just have money to sign all these young guys that are playing well.
Very reasonable. They don't need Paul Millsap. Why are the Knicks locking up $30 million for next year?
Because they're not going to get one of their. Maybe they talk to Kevin Durant or whatever, and they're like, okay, he's not coming to the team. We're not going to get anybody.
By the way, just in fairness, Millsap, he's injured now. He's played 26 games this year.
Oh, right.
Okay, I'm just whatever. Go on.
Yeah. Okay. My mistake. But okay, so Millsap. So the Knicks aren't going to get a big free agent. They lock up a 4-time All-Star for 1 year. Having another season to develop the young guys and clear up cap space a year from now when there's another crop of good free agents coming up.
I would have liked this better if you include I understand the idea of Millsap. Millsap's going to be 34 years old.
Mm-hmm.
He I don't know what the extent of his injury is now. How bad is the injury?
He's back, but he's on like a significant minutes restriction.
Okay, so but you're also not. I guess if you're locking up, I agree the Knicks aren't going to sign anyone this offseason, so it's not a big deal if you lock up the cap space for 1 year. But he's going to take playing time away. So you putting him next to KP, and then what happens to Mitchell Robinson?
He's sixth man.
Okay, and I guess
it's
saying
not like
that
Mitchell
we're not
Robinson can stay on the court long enough anyway. So
you're starting Mitchell Robinson. You're going to play as long as you're fouled out. Okay, moving on. So I mean, Millsap, I guess you have a veteran presence that helps solidify the young guys.
Yeah. I mean, you figure maybe the Knicks also trade Courtney Lee, so you have that one veteran presence still on the team.
I would have liked this better if you got a draft pick. I think Denver should have to give up a draft pick, or maybe the rights to Michael Porter, just to give something to give this is a significant amount of cap relief for them.
Right. Yeah, we could throw that in. You can't really couldn't include it in the trade machine, but yeah, if the Denver threw in a first rounder, it would still only be the 25th pick or something. So
okay, if it's a first rounder is included, I like that. I'll put this in the top 5 worthy. Keep it in mind. Okay, my next trade. This is a big one. I am going to trade. Pull this up. I am getting for us. Ben Simmons.
Okay.
I'm also getting for us T.J. McConnell. This is with Philly, obviously,
Mm-hmm.
and I am giving them back KP and Moutier.
Interesting.
So here are the arguments. Right now, Philly has 3 guys that want the ball in their hands.
Yes.
And that does not work.
No.
If you're bringing in Butler, I really think Ben Simmons is a bit of the odd man out. He doesn't work off the ball. Ben Simmons needs to be the guy with his hands. He needs to be the guy with the ball in his hands at all times.
Yep.
KP can work beautifully off the ball. He's a great shooter. He would be a much better fit with these guys. First of all, you keep the length. You have a guy that can rim protector. KP can do a lot, obviously, assuming he comes back healthy. But KP can do a lot, and he works better off the ball. You have Embiid, KP, and Jimmy Butler. I feel like that's a better team for Philly.
Yeah.
Moutier also, maybe Philly makes him a better defender. He brings some more on offense. He might be I feel like he might be a better option than McConnell off the bench for them.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you buy that argument, but I've always liked what T.J. McConnell does when he burns the Knicks, so I kind of wanted to try him on. I wanted to give the Knicks a little more in this trade, so I wanted to add McConnell.
I would argue McConnell might be the Knicks' best point guard. Yeah.
Well, if you're getting Ben Simmons becomes the Knicks' best point guard. But having a Ben Simmons McConnell, I originally when I did this trade, I said I was going to do KP and Ntilikina, but then I thought maybe we'll switch Moutier for Ntilikina.
Mm-hmm.
Do you like this trade?
I do. Yeah.
I love this trade. I think this is our best trade. I was thinking about this, and this is why I want to do this whole bit, basically the trade thing, just to talk about Ben Simmons for KP.
All right. Yeah, mark that one down.
Okay.
So we got.
By the way, my trades get shitty from here.
I have a lot that are questionable too. I like this one though. Golden State Warriors.
Ooh.
So the Knicks trade Tim Hardaway Jr., Frank Ntilikina, and Mitchell Robinson.
Wait, Tim Hardaway, Frank Ntilikina,
and Mitchell Robinson.
That's a lot.
For Klay Thompson.
So you're saying that you have kidnapped the GM of Golden State's daughter.
This is based on those rumors that say Klay Thompson wants his own team and is looking to prove himself outside of the Warriors. I don't believe those rumors, but those are legit rumors that I've heard.
So, but you're giving them Mitchell Robinson, Timmy. Who was the third one?
Frank.
So you're giving them 3 very good young players. Golden State becomes a little bit deeper, I guess.
Yeah, they get a little bit deeper. There's spots. Hardaway obviously would probably fit in Klay's spot. Robinson.
Hey, Golden State. Do you want a guy that can shoot not as well as Klay and can't defend a lick?
Robinson is insurance if Cousins doesn't work out, or they probably can't even afford Cousins if he does work out. So.
Yeah, Robinson also it's a hell of a defender. You need more defense. Yeah.
And Frank is defense off the bench. Golden State's bench sucks, so Frank would be an upgrade to whoever they're playing out there.
I said I wanted a team, Jay. I just said I didn't want the Knicks though. Come on, I'm out of here.
I don't think I
guess
have to
you get
defend...
assurances that Klay will re-up for the deal.
Yes, and I don't think I need to defend why Klay should come to the Knicks.
Yeah. No, I make the argument, Jay. I don't need defense. I don't need a guy that can shoot for. I don't need a competent guard.
Klay is having one of his worst seasons this year, so maybe the Warriors want to sell high.
Do the Knicks immediately hang his number in the banner in the rafters?
Yeah, after one game, yes.
What is Klay doing this year? I'm just you said he's having his worst year. I did not know that.
He's having a pretty bad slump.
I know he had that big that stretch where he was really bad from 3, but he's still scoring 20 a game, shooting 44% from the field, which is low for him, 34% from 3. Basically, he's putting up Knicks level All-Star numbers, which are the worst numbers in a while for him.
He's shooting 10% worse from the 3-point line than he did last season. That's really bad. Of course, because he's on the fantasy team.
Yeah. He's still shooting a decent percentage, but he's shooting 34%, which is fine for a guy that shoots 7.5 a game.
Right, but he's never shot under 40% ever in his career.
So the Knicks will get him, and suddenly he'll become shooting 20% a game.
Yeah.
But I like this better than your previous trade. This is Golden State is doing this because do you think Golden State wins the title with this trade? Because the Golden State Clay stays, they have the title. Does this trade extend their run? What's the justification here? They're assuming they're keeping Durant, keeping everyone else.
Right. I mean, they still definitely have a chance to win. They get a little bit they get a lot younger. Maybe Hardaway looks even better being like the fourth best guy in the starting lineup instead of being asked to do every single thing.
Okay.
And,
Okay. Yeah. What the hell? If Thompson, they really believe Thompson wants his own team, this is
yeah. All right.
Okay, so I like that trade. Top 5 worthy. I'm totally all in on it. My next trade is with the Toronto Raptors. And this one, I had trouble with the Raptors because everything I tried to do didn't really work. So I don't know. We're giving them Hezonja and Vonleh, and we're getting CJ Miles and OG Anunoby. Anunoby. Yeah, I mean, is that are the letters and the pronunciation even related?
I kind of like that from the Knicks' point of view. I don't think the Raptors do that.
So my argument here is that CJ Miles is getting $8 million next year. Is he worth $8 million next year? Probably not. Though I think they might be at the cap maxed out anywhere.
Right.
Anyway, but in theory, it gives them a little bit of cap relief.
Yeah.
Oh, and Noah Vonleh will shut down Giannis in the playoffs. That was my other reason for this trade. So there you go. Milwaukee's nothing compared to them. Vonleh, get Giannis. Vonleh, you don't need help there. Just shut down Giannis. I will hold him to slightly worse all-star numbers. But anyway, my point of the trade really was for OG. I think he's a solid. I mean, he's a small forward. That'd be a great guy to develop. And
yeah, absolutely.
I'm going to guess you're saying this is not top 5 worthy.
No.
Okay.
Houston Rockets.
Okay. Houston Rockets. What do you got for me?
Tim Hardaway Jr. and Hezonja for Brandon Knight and Eric Gordon. So we get 2 players who...
It was Hardaway and who? And Hezonja.
Hezonja. So...
There's no way you could argue this makes sense, but go on.
From whose point of view?
How many years is Knight? This is last year. How many years is left?
Yeah.
Okay, so I guess your argument. Yeah, I guess your argument here is that we have 1 year left less of Hardaway.
Yes, this is
Gordon gets 13 million. Hardaway gets 17. So a slight bit of cap relief for next year, and
a lot the following year.
Yeah, a lot the following year. Why does Houston do this? Why does Houston take on more salary?
Because Eric Gordon is having a horrible season, and Tim Hardaway is an upgrade, and they're in win now mode. And Brandon Knight's been a nothing. So,
no, yeah, Brandon Knight's just cap filler. I understand that. You're Houston. James Harden puts up crazy numbers every night. You have to go all on this. It's insane not to. And you also signed Chris Paul to $1 billion a year.
Right. So that my thinking is they're like, all right, Chris Paul's getting pretty up there in age. Let's swing for the fences. This is an upgrade over what we have. Let's see if this works.
Yeah, I mean, is there any way you could work in Courtney Lee there?
I was trying to, but then I kept thinking that's too much salary for the Rockets to take on.
Well, anything as long as they can take on the salary. I mean, getting Courtney Lee also would be a huge upgrade for them.
Yeah.
Or maybe just throw in Trey. Not that I guess we don't need to help them more. So they throw in Trey Burke. He could be not bad off the bench there. Is there anyone else we could?
Thing is, the Knicks have a lot of players that other teams don't want.
Knicks have a lot of players that the Knicks don't want.
Yeah.
Maybe throw in Lance Thomas there. Can we get rid of his salary?
What does he bring? I don't think I included Lance with any of my trade proposals just because who wants him?
Yeah, I guess I would love to get out of Courtney Lee's contract, and I think Houston would be happy to get Courtney Lee. He'd
Hmm.
be another good 3-point shooter.
Yeah, yeah.
If you did Hardaway, Courtney Lee, by the way, I hope the Knicks GM is listening to this because these are all good trades. Hardaway, Courtney Lee, Hazonia, or just leave Hazonia out of the trade
Hmm.
and add in who you got? Who's bad on this team? I don't know. Just throw in Melo's contract there and throw in like
That's it. Just get Melo back. I think that makes salaries work.
yeah. I mean, we can our final dagger with Melo is we cut him like a second time.
We hate you so much we required you just to cut you again.
They're like Melo's like, okay, I'll fly to New York. Don't get on a plane. You're not even allowed in New York anymore. I like that trade for getting rid of. I don't know. I don't love the trade. I understand getting rid of a little bit of salary here.
Yeah, that's fine. I mean, obviously, not all these are going to be winners, but all right,
Okay.
what do you got?
Yeah, you know it's hard. Most of my trades are not winners going forward. Okay, so Milwaukee. Again, it pretty much just got hard from here in general. But
I told you this was a hard exercise. A lot of teams don't have a lot of either bad contracts or players they want to get rid of.
yeah. So anyway, I did this. I watched I was at a family thing last night. I got home, started watching the Knicks game at like 10 o'clock. Was texting with Jay, who said, "Holy crap, you don't want to watch this game," but I still did anyway. And then at like midnight, I started doing this, and it took me like over an hour to do this. I mean, this is also what you get after over an hour at midnight. But I was so angry at this team while I was doing this. But anyway, so I am trading Courtney Lee and Frank Ntilikina to the Bucks, and I am getting back Tony Snell and Malcolm Brogdon. The arguments here being Malcolm Brogdon, huge upgrade at point guard. Fair argument there?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so huge upgrade at point guard. Milwaukee already has Bledsoe. They don't necessarily need him at point guard.
Mm-hmm.
They have Tony Snell. It makes $10 million a year for the next 2 years. You don't really like Milwaukee wants to get out of that contract. It's not a great contract.
No, it's not.
So basically, giving back Courtney Lee. Basically, we have an extra bad year of Tony Snell, so which is not great. And Ntilikina, obviously, good play. I mean, the basic argument here is we're going to give up something to get Malcolm Brogdon and solve our point guard issue.
Right, and the consolation for the Bucks is that they get out of a bad contract.
Yeah, the Bucks get out of a bad contract. The Knicks get a solid enough answer at point guard that we don't have to ask about who's our point guard for the next I don't know. He's better than we have. Like, I'd rather have Brogdon, KP, Knox, and build from there.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, what do you think of Brogdon? He's okay, right?
Yeah. He's not a world beater, but he'd probably be the Knicks' best point guard.
By far. He plays some defense. He plays some offense. He's a solid point guard. He's a world better than Ntilikina.
Yeah.
He's world better than Moutier. You like this trade? And Courtney Lee, as far as for the Bucks, Snell's contract's bad, so you get 1 year less of that. Giving up Brogdon is a lot, but you like defense, you like length. You probably could find a way to make Ntilikina better on your team.
Mm-hmm.
And Courtney Lee, you're going for it anyway this year. Courtney Lee is a solid veteran to get.
Yeah, I like it.
Top 5 worthy?
I don't know if it's top 5, but I definitely like it. Put a maybe on that one.
Okay, maybe it's fine. Not here. Okay. What do you got for me?
This one is the Clippers. This is a trade of European busts, just to see if it works out with new scenery for both of them. So,
okay. So we're getting back Gallinari?
No, Gallinari's having a great season.
I know he's having a great year. I was just hoping he'd give it back. Isn't it great? We did this whole Melo trade years later, and Gallinari's playing like almost like an all-star right now.
Yeah, I wanted to get Gallo back, but he's making $20 million. And obviously, the only contracts he could trade are Hardaway and Cantor. They're obviously not going to do Cantor. I don't think they would take Hardaway. So,
do you think Gallinari is a good example of just don't trade away your promising young guys?
I mean, it wasn't just Gallinari. It was like even if a lot of those other guys didn't work out, you had like options like Boston. Like They didn't blow their load on a guy who they could have gotten free agency. So
I mean, Gallinari, obviously, he's had a lot of injury issues between now and then. But, like, it's funny that Gallinari now is having a great season. Melo is not employed in the NBA.
yeah,
Okay. So what's your trade?
Hazonia for Boban.
I'm looking up for Boban's contract. What's Boban's contract?
Boban Marjanovic. That is.
Oh, there he is. Oh, so they both have 1 year. They both are. This is their last year for both guys, right?
Yeah, this is just like, all right, we it's not working out on our team. Maybe it'll work out on your team.
So yeah, I totally understand the Knicks. Hazonia, like, he made an appearance in one of the games recently, and like I was like, oh God. I think in the Jazz game, I was like, oh, okay, Hazonia, go back to the bench.
Yeah.
Is Boban? I don't know how much is he been playing at all for the Clippers.
Not a lot. He's playing 11 minutes a game.
What does Hazonia give them?
Which is a career high for.
Maybe Clippers are a better run team. Maybe they can figure out how to use Hazonia.
Yeah, I mean it's basically a no risk from both sides. You got a guy who can shoot and has potential, and maybe he works out. If he doesn't, you're giving up a guy who's only playing 11 minutes a game on your team anyway.
Yeah, this is not bad actually. I like the trade. I'm a fan of it. I'm going to put a question mark next to your trade as well, Jay.
All right.
Okay. Going to my next trade.
If Boban for Hazonia is a top 5, this is going to be a failed bit, by the way.
Well, it seemed like a pretty realistic trade. I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay. Let me pull this up. Oh, God damn it. Okay, the next trade we are making is with the Pacers.
Okay.
And so the Knicks are getting, I don't know how realistic this all is, but we're getting Miles Turner and whichever holiday they have.
I'd love to see how we're getting Miles Turner.
Do they have Aaron Holiday? Which one do they have?
I think so, yeah.
Okay. I mean, first of all, we just have to get a Holiday. We're giving them Ntilikina and Mitchell Robinson. Here's the argument. The argument here is, what's his name? Sabonis is looked really, really good.
Yes.
You can make him your starting center.
Mm-hmm.
Miles needs to get paid, wants a major deal. The Pacers may not want to give him a major deal.
Mm-hmm.
So you don't want to let him walk in free agency. And you trade Miles Turner for a guy that could be a defensive stalwart at center, and Ntilikina, who they can really develop. Not crazy. Holiday was there for the money, and he's a young point guard and whatever.
Mm-hmm.
The money basically is a wash between the two teams.
Mm-hmm.
But Miles Turner could be like, I'd be comfortable going KP and Miles Turner are our front line for the next 10 years. So obviously for the Knicks, this makes a lot of sense. I'd throw in like a second round pick or something to make it sound okay.
Mm-hmm.
Is it plausible the Pacers would do this?
Yeah, if they think they don't want to pay Turner, yeah.
Do they want to pay? If you're the Pacers, do you want to pay him?
I don't think so.
He's really good, but because you have Sabonis, I don't know if you want to pay. I don't think you want to pay both those guys.
Yeah, exactly.
I think of the two of them, I'd rather have Sabonis, so maybe I trade Miles Turner.
Yeah, probably. I mean, Sabonis is looking really good. He had a rough first year, and then, man, he came on.
I only seem to watch him against the Knicks, so I assume he's already in the Hall of Fame.
Also, you might want to say Turner's numbers seem to have plateaued, which isn't really a good sign for a fourth-year player.
He can shoot the three. I would like to see him shoot more threes.
Mm-hmm.
He shoots 2 a game. I feel like he could be. He's got solid. When I've seen him play, he's got solid form. He's always been a pretty good shooter from 3. I feel like he shoots 2 a game. I feel like he might be able to shoot 5 a game.
Mm-hmm.
He can block shots. He's the best shot blocker in the league.
Yeah.
Having that next to KP sounds really good to me. His rebounding could be better. I'd be all in on this. I think he's super athletic. I would love to have him. I think Knicks would be insane not to do this.
Yeah.
And Mitchell Robinson and Frank Ntilikina is giving up a lot.
It is. I like it.
Top 5 worthy?
Yeah.
Yes. Nailed it.
All right. So I got the Lakers.
So what are we trading for LeBron?
This is, again, I'm not sure how plausible it is, but Ntilikina and Dodson for
Ntilikina and Dotson. Okay.
Brandon Ingram.
Make your argument.
So this is basically saying Ingram isn't playing that well next to LeBron.
Yeah, no, totally fair. He's definitely not playing. He doesn't seem like the answer next to LeBron. I agree with that.
So the Lakers are saying, okay, we need to. We don't really want to pay this guy because we're going to pick LeBron over Ingram.
Okay.
Rondo is always injured and a shell of himself. So we got a point guard and we get some shooting off the bench. And
Who was it again? It was Dotson and Ntilikina?
yeah,
I feel like what do the Lakers need? I feel like if you can find some way to include Timmy, just because I feel like Timmy would be a decent addition to this team. Is there money that you could like? I'm looking at the contract. There's no money to match that, huh?
yeah, that's the thing. The Lakers don't have a lot of these West Coast teams. I guess they're not horrible because they don't have a lot of terrible contracts or even large contracts. So
What about Ingram and Rondo? You said Rondo's not playing great right there. So Ingram and Rondo for Timmy. Would that work?
I mean, if that works, I would do that in a second.
Let me see that. I guess I don't think they're doing that trade. The trade is successful. They can do that.
I also didn't do it because I didn't want to have Timmy in every single one of my trade proposals, and he's already in like 8 of them. So
I'm just thinking along the lines of I get what you're saying. I mean, I get the idea of bringing in Brandon Ingram, giving a new seeing he's obviously was a top 3 pick,
top 2.
top 2 pick. He's got a lot of potential. It looked like he was coming out of he was emerging last year, and now it's not working next to him.
Right.
Timmy can shoot from the outside, so LeBron can just kick the ball to Timmy. He'll look better there.
Yeah.
If LeBron made J.R. Smith look a lot better, he'll make Timmy Hardaway look better.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just don't think Dotson and Ntilikina were enough. I think maybe Dotson and Timmy.
Right. Yeah. That was my thinking. I'm not sure if that was enough for Ingram.
You don't think Dotson and Timmy would do it for Ingram and they don't really need to get out of the Rondo contract. That works. The Ingram Rondo for Timmy and Dotson.
Yeah.
At least I don't know. But if you like, so you like better the. Would you like better? You like better doing
No, if I could get out of the Timmy contract, yeah, that would be great.
The Lakers are going to be maxed. Then, well, I guess the Lakers don't want to do that because then they would. They want their money for this off season because they're actually going to get a free agent.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's not. I'm going to say not top 5 because I just don't see the scenario where Dotson and Ntilikina are going to make it worthwhile for the Lakers. Ingram.
Okay.
But I like the effort there. I am going to the Magic, which I was thinking Orlando Magic. They've got a lot of bad contracts. This should be easy.
That's what I thought when I was trying to do teams like the Suns and the Grizzlies, and it was really hard.
Yes, this one was really hard. They actually turns out they don't have a lot of bad contracts. I'm giving them Courtney Lee and Trey Burke, and getting back Terrence Ross.
Okay.
The argument here, which is a flimsy one, is basically we save on cap space. I mean, they save on cap space. Sorry, we save on cap space. Terrence Ross, he's looked good at times. He's a 1 year. He expires after this year. Maybe you keep him, maybe you don't. Orlando, I guess the benefit, if the team, they are looking a little better this year, they could use, Courtney Lee would be a nice guy to have in that team, and Trey Burke would be a decent guy off the bench. Give him a little more depth.
Yeah, that's fine. I mean, it's like a whatever trade, but yeah, it makes sense.
I mean, if Orlando's going to start getting better, they need better players. They need to getting some veterans doesn't make some sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't have much there. Okay.
All right, this one's interesting, I think.
Okay.
Memphis Grizzlies.
Okay, hang on. Memphis Grizzlies.
Mm-hmm. So the Knicks give Cantor, Moutier, and Robinson.
Wait. Cantor, Moutier, and Robinson.
Yes.
Okay.
For Chandler Parsons and Jaren Jackson Jr.
Do you have a? Can you play like an audio clip of a phone being hung up really fast?
Well, I obviously
Who are you giving them again? Say this again. You're giving them Cantor,
Moutier and Mitchell Robinson.
Moutier, and Mitchell Robinson for possibly the best player in the last draft.
Right, and possibly the worst contract in the entire NBA.
Yeah, it's only one more year of that.
It's really bad though.
It's $24 million for you. It's $24 million of dead weight, but you're giving up Jaren Jackson to get out of the Parsons contract is insane.
Okay.
That is. I'm gonna say that was the worst trade so far proposed.
Okay.
Like that is just. If basically the GM's response would be, "It's cool. You can kill my daughter. I don't care. You have her. Not doing this trade."
Fair enough.
Okay. Not to make fun of your trade.
No, that's fine. I wasn't sure how much the Grizzlies would hate Parsons' contract.
I mean, but the thing is, Jaren, they must also love. You look at Jaren Jackson as like this is the future of your franchise.
Right.
Okay, so the Atlanta Hawks, team almost as bad as the Knicks. Right now, the Knicks are actually the only team that has a worse record than the Knicks right now are the Cavaliers, and there's no way January ends with the Cavaliers not being better than the Knicks, right?
Right. They're going to get Kevin Love back. They'll rattle off a couple wins, and that'll be it.
Oh, but I saw the argument for so the top three teams have the same odds in the draft, but the argument for wanting the worst seed was that the worst record is that you can only if everything goes wrong, you don't fall as far as the other seeds.
Right. So there's still some advantage.
There's still some advantage, and the Knicks need every advantage possible.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, I am doing Kent Bazemore for Enes Kanter.
Why would the Hawks do that?
Well, why would the Hawks do that? Bazemore's owed $18 million next year.
Mm.
Why are you going to pay Pet Bazemore $18 million? I mean, the Hawks carry him to New York on their shoulders.
Yeah, no, that's true.
I mean, Bazemore's a fine player,
Mm-hmm.
but I think that's a lot of money to give. Like the Bazemore contract's pretty bad for next year. If you're Atlanta, you got your point guard. You might want to bring in a free agent to clear some cap space. I mean, they got Collins, they got
but
Trae Young.
The Knicks are saying we're going to punt on a free agent to have Bazemore.
Yeah. So my argument here. Oh wait, there had to be more of this. Hang on. There was more of this trade. Sorry. Okay. Yeah. I left out. I was looking at the trade machine. There was more of this contract. Okay. Never mind. So it's Bazemore plus the Hawks 2019 first round pick.
Okay.
For Kanter and the Knicks 2020 first round pick.
Interesting.
So this is why it makes more sense. So the Knicks are basically sacrificing their cap space for this summer and getting the Hawks first round pick, which is going to be a good pick. The Hawks will look at it and go, we're going to punt and get to sign we're going to punt on a draft pick this year. But the Knicks are going to be terrible next year, so we'll get their draft pick next year. But we get to sign a free agent this year.
Okay, so
You're swapping time. Like the Knicks, I mean, they're not bringing in a free agent anyway. So I would gladly sacrifice our draft the money for free agency for this summer if we can just get another top 10 pick.
Okay, I get it. That makes more sense.
I thought this was a pretty good trade. I mean, I don't know if the Hawks will want to punt on drafting. But if you're Hawks, you're a little further along with with Collins and with Trae Young there. You may want to say like maybe a free agent wants to come here.
No.
I mean, the Knicks will probably be a top 5 pick next year also. So you might want to. Are you hanging up on me?
Yeah.
Okay, fine. I mean that's reasonable. But I didn't think it was completely insane. Okay, what do you got?
Minnesota Timberwolves. This one is Courtney Lee for Robert Covington. Because you knew I had to get Covington on this team.
Yeah. So, make your arguments.
So, for Minnesota, this is basically they don't want to keep paying Covington. He's working out well there right now, but he's got a couple years left on his contract.
I'm pretty sure in Minnesota, if you don't have the guy signed, they leave. So you kind of have to keep guys there.
Right, but they have
Even guys signed force their way out of there. So, like, you might want to keep this guy.
maybe, but they're also having trouble. They're going to have cap space trouble because they gave $1 billion to Wiggins.
They don't have cap space trouble because no one is ever going to sign and fine for Minnesota. No one wants to go there. So, like, you don't have cap space trouble.
Yeah, let's move on. I don't like this one anymore.
Okay. We're going to trade with Detroit. And Detroit is having a better season this year. They went all in on Blake Griffin. So naturally, they want Enes Kanter and Hezonja.
So they're going to have Griffin, Drummond, Cantor.
Here's what we're taking back. We are taking back Reggie Jackson and Stanley Johnson. The argument here, Reggie Jackson is making $17 million next year. So it is cap relief for Detroit. They got Blake Griffin. Now you can actually bring in another solid free agent next year, this offseason, which you may not be able to otherwise. Reggie Jackson is playing like trash for them. You don't need Reggie Jackson anymore. The argument for the Knicks is that Stanley Johnson was a top 10 pick. He plays small forward. He is a decent reclamation project to try. Because the other ones are going so well.
Yeah. Okay. Fair. That one's fair.
I think it's a decent trade. I mean, obviously, I get Hezonja and Kanter don't do a ton for Detroit, and they're probably both gone. I just think this is pure cap relief for them.
Yeah.
Sorry, I should look at this again. So it's I want Reggie Jackson, Stanley Johnson, and a 2019 first-round pick. I don't know if that's too much to ask for. Because the Knicks will be getting $17 million next year, giving up their ability to go to free agency. So I want the draft pick will probably be around number 20.
Mm-hmm.
Not insane, maybe to throw in there.
Possibly, yeah.
I'll probably take a second-round pick. If you do the 2019 second-round pick, if you give me 2 second-round picks, I'd probably do this also instead of a first round.
That would probably get it done.
Yeah. Top 5 worthy?
No, but it's reasonable.
Okay. What do you got for me?
New Orleans Pelicans.
I'm so excited to get Anthony Davis.
Yeah.
Did you do Anthony Davis for KP?
And Hardaway Jr. and Robinson.
Oh, you did it!
Yeah.
It's the start.
This is obviously Anthony Davis says, I am not resigning. You're going to lose me for nothing.
Yeah,
and
he's got another year, so it's 2 years out. But like,
yeah, I mean, this trade is probably more likely next year than this year.
I have a question? So KP in this trade, so you're giving. Tell me the parameters again. It's Anthony Davis and who?
For KP, Hardaway Jr. and Mitch Robinson.
Okay. So in this trade, KP is saying I'll resign with the Pelicans.
Yes.
They get his. Do the Knicks get Anthony Davis this assurance that he'll resign, or the Knicks just trade for him and just hope 1 year here, like they have him for next year and just hope he can resign him?
I mean, I think Davis wants to go to a big market, so you kind of figure.
But do you get his reassurance, or do you or are you
sure,
or are you just taking a gamble?
Yeah, I mean, if we could get Porzingis to agree to play for the Pelicans, we could get Davis to agree to play in New York.
KP, how would you like to play in a much smaller market? Oh, by the way, just a totally side note. I was reading something about Moutier, and Moutier admitted one of the problems in Denver was that he admits he was out of shape in Denver, and he ate too much fast food. I hate the idea that the guy spent his first 2 years of his career out of shape is the guy that we're thinking about. Like, this could be our answer at point guard.
I know. It's like, I don't get when you have an opportunity to make tens of millions of dollars and you're just like, yeah, but burgers.
Yeah, I feel like you're like, I am drafted this high. I hire a personal trainer and just change my life so I can be better.
Like, if your entire career depends on you being in shape, you be in shape.
You pay $100,000 to a trainer, $100,000 to a personal chef, and make sure you're in a peak physical shape.
The NBA provides that.
Yeah. You probably just say hey, I like fast food, but I'd like to be better. Here's your chef. Just figure this shit out. We drafted you so goddamn high.
No, they actually do provide you meals. It's just that was the same thing with Curry. He would leave the healthy meal like cafeteria for the Knicks and go across the street to KFC.
Okay, so is this a good return for Anthony Davis? I guess the question is. Getting KP, that's pretty huge. Getting
I had to throw in Hardaway to get the salaries to match, and then Mitchell Robinson is
a solid guy off the.
Yeah.
So if I guess the Pelicans believe he's going to leave, is this a good return for him?
I mean, it's pretty much the best the Knicks can offer.
I mean, so if the Knicks, I love it, obviously. But are you any concerned about injury? I mean, because they both have injury questions.
Yeah, they both have big injury questions.
Okay, and obviously Anthony Davis is a better player. I love it for the Knicks. I'm going this top 5 worthy for me.
Okay.
I like it enough that I'm all in, and I think the Pelicans. It's a compelling offer.
I think it's fair enough.
Yeah. I don't. Okay, so we're making a big trade with the Brooklyn Nets.
Okay.
So this is huge. Let me see if I can put any draft picks. No draft picks. So we are getting the beast, Damari Carroll, and we are giving them Courtney Lee.
All right.
So the arguments here, this is purely cap relief for the Knicks. You don't have them leave next year. And for the Nets, if you haven't noticed, the Nets are a couple games under 500. They've been playing really well lately. So adding a solid veteran to the mix might be what you want to do. But how did Brooklyn trade away every draft pick for like a goddamn decade, and they're rebuilding faster than the Knicks?
They're almost a playoff team.
They are almost a playoff team. They got Dinwiddie. They got who just went down?
LeVert.
LeVert went down, but he's pretty good. Do you think they're going to re-sign? I keep saying what's his name, but the point guard.
Not Joe Harris.
Not Joe Harris. The one from the Lakers.
Oh, D'Angelo Russell.
Yeah, D'Angelo Russell. Do you think they re-signed D'Angelo Russell? He's having a decent year.
Yeah.
They apparently, I don't remember the guy's name. I do this all hold. They've been playing this European guy who's been playing pretty well lately. Also, Kuricker, been playing pretty well for them.
Yeah, they got a decent. I don't know how they rebuilt over the course of one season. It's insane.
They've been rebuilding. They've had these guys. They are doing a better job at rebuilding than the Knicks are. I mean, it's fair to say the Knicks have had draft picks and they've not been doing as well. Would you switch rosters with Brooklyn right now?
Yeah.
I mean, the only pause I say is we get back KP and we're gonna have a top 5 pick this year.
KP is, he's played 0 healthy seasons. I'm a little worried.
I'm a little concerned. And I don't know basically if with the Knicks, this current roster with KP are they better than the Nets? I don't know.
Probably not.
Anyway, so the Nets are a team that could use a decent veteran. One extra year, Courtney Lee. I feel like it makes sense for the Nets.
Mm-hmm.
You in?
Yeah, I'm in.
Top 5?
Sure.
Okay, cool. Top 5.
I got the Thunder, and this is also a Courtney Lee swap for Andre Roberson.
Why?
Because Roberson cannot stay healthy, and the Thunder need that spot. They need a healthy shooting guard that can play some defense. So,
but Roberson makes $10 million a year, and he's signed for the next year. So, what's the difference if we have Courtney Lee or Roberson? Like, why not just keep Courtney? Like, why are the Knicks doing this?
The Knicks are doing this because they think that Roberson is going to get healthy, and when healthy, I think Roberson's better. I think the Thunder are too paranoid that he's going to go down again, and the Knicks are like, sure, we'll take a waiver.
Has anyone ever gotten healthier when they joined the Knicks?
Never in the history of the team.
Has
that ever stopped the Knicks?
I don't see justification for this trade. I would need a draft pick from OKC to make this like Courtney Lee is the healthier player. Why would I need more?
Save $2 million in cap space.
Oh wow! Let's throw a party. Yeah, I need you to figure out how to get me like a Abrinas or someone else in this team, or Ferguson or someone else that would make or a draft pick.
Okay.
Okay. Next thing I got for you. I hope people like this bit because it's obviously a long one.
Yeah.
I don't know why I didn't have this in the trade. I didn't save the link for the trade machine for this one, but you're gonna hate it anyway. We are getting from the Bulls Jabari Parker,
Mm-hmm.
Robin Lopez,
Mm-hmm.
Chris Dunn, and a second round 2019 pick for Cantor, Hardaway, and Lance Thomas.
I actually kind of like that.
It's not terrible because the argument here is Jabari is due like $20 million next year. So is Hardaway. You basically cut off 1 year of Hardaway. So basically, you have one less year of the cap relief is not next year, but the year after that. You have one less year of Hardaway, and Chris Dunn. Hey, he plays point guard. He's young. Why not?
Mm-hmm. I like it.
You think the Bulls would do it? I mean, do they? What's the argument for the Bulls? I guess the Bulls Jabari Parker obviously is not. You don't want him on the team anymore.
Right.
Robin Lopez, you don't necessarily need him anymore.
Yeah, it's a bunch of don't want him, don't need him.
So I think Hardaway is an improvement on the Bulls.
Mm-hmm.
I guess.
Yeah, for him, he would be like the veteran leadership guy on that team.
Do they? And he's worked out so well doing that in the Knicks. Would they give up Chris Dunn? That's a real question.
I mean, I think they like him, but I don't know if they're totally in love with him.
I don't know. I don't necessarily buy if they would do this deal. But okay, give me your next one.
This is Phoenix Suns. The Knicks get Ryan Anderson and T.J. Warren.
Ryan Anderson and T.J. Warren.
Yeah.
Okay, I understand Ryan. Just give me the rest of the trade, yeah.
And the Knicks give Cantor, Hardaway Jr., and Moutier. So this is basically clearing up 1 year of cap space for the Suns.
But because how?
Because I think T.J. Warren has 2 more years?
3 more years.
3 more years, yeah. So they're clearing up some cap space. I know Warren is one of their best players right now, but they have 3 other shooting guards small forwards that they drafted.
Yeah, I mean they have a lot. But T.J. Warren is one of their best players right now.
He is, but is he a guy that they want to keep? Because I feel like if you wanted T.J. Warren, why'd you draft Mikal Bridges? Why'd you trade for Kelly Oubre? You already drafted Josh Jackson.
Why did they trade for Kelly Oubre? What if that trade makes no sense for any of the teams involved?
No, it doesn't. It doesn't.
And Washington got rid of their backup point guard, Austin Rivers, right before John Wall gets injured. And Phoenix didn't even want Austin Rivers because they cut him immediately.
Yeah. Yeah, it's the weirdest trade. So Phoenix.
It's like basically those teams said, we have to make a trade. We're doing the same bit that Jay and Mark are doing.
Right, exactly. So, yeah, the Phoenix has 3 shooting guards that are all younger on the team.
And you got Josh Jackson also.
Yeah, so it's like I just don't. They need to clear up some space. And,
the Knicks here.
Well, Warren would be their best player.
Yeah. I mean, and we need a small forward.
Yeah.
I haven't watched Phoenix enough to know that he played. I assume he doesn't play any defense. He plays on Phoenix, so.
Yeah, but I don't think he's probably better than Hardaway.
Yeah, I'm all in. That's fine. And Phoenix seems like they just make weird trades, and they do have a bit of a. I mean, does Timmy Hardaway fit in there though?
No, they would probably want to trade Timmy Hardaway in a secondary trade.
Back to get Austin Rivers.
Yeah.
I'm not top 5, but I like the trade. Not bad. Yeah, not top 5. But
I was trying to think a little outside the box.
Yeah, no, that wasn't bad at all. Okay, so this one. So we're getting Tristan Thompson. We're going to Cleveland. Tristan Thompson and a 2020 first-round pick for Cantor. So this is purely Thompson's owed $17 million for next year. So it's purely, and Cantor's obviously off the books. So it's purely a salary dump for Cleveland. And in return for a salary dump, we take a first round pick from Cleveland. And I probably will not give up this year's first round pick, so maybe next year's. What do you think? I did not check to see if the Cleveland has their draft picks, but
You're doing a first round pick swap, or are you just getting a first round pick?
just getting a first round pick. Would Cleveland trade next year's first round pick to get out of Thompson's contract? He's owed $17 million for next year.
It's a terrible contract, but who's going to sign in Cleveland?
I mean, LeBron James did.
Yeah, he was born there.
I mean, maybe you could convince Kevin Durant he was born there. Look at this fake birth certificate. You were born there, Durant.
I would love it if they did that, but I just don't. I think you only do that if you think you're going to get a free agent.
Yeah, their roster's pretty barren. The only other thing I had was I was thinking about Hazonia and Enes Kanter for Kevin Love, and we take 2 first-round picks for him.
Interesting.
So Kevin Love has 4 more years at $25 million a year.
Yeah, that's terrible.
That's horrendous. For the Knicks to take that on, and that's basically a salary dump. The Knicks to take that on, they'd have to basically. Kevin Love also has not played this season. Has he played yet this season? He has not played, right?
No, I don't think so.
Anyway, and Kevin Love he's broken. I don't think he's coming back next year and being like he's the best of his career is over. So I don't know. Would you give up the Knicks a big chunk of salary cap for the Knicks for the next 4 years to get 2 Cleveland draft picks? So I guess it would have to be this year's and 2 years from now because you have to skip a year.
Those could be really good draft picks.
Those could be really, if you're really rebuilding, probably not getting a max player anyway. If Love comes back and is good, that's great, but that's gravy on this. I think that's one of the worst contracts in the NBA. It just made no sense, and the moment one, it made no sense.
I think you have to consider it if you're getting 2 firsts.
Yeah.
I mean,
that top 5 worthy?
What if those are like 2 top 3 picks?
Yeah, Cleveland would look terrible. I mean, I guess Cleveland probably, if you're rebuilding, you probably don't trade those picks. Cleveland probably does not do that either because Cleveland's probably like, what do we need the cap space for? Who's signing here?
Right.
I mean, they probably also just said like we lost LeBron James. We just need to keep someone with any name, like get people to come to the games.
Yeah, that is true too.
Okay, I probably not top 5, but what do you got?
Portland Trailblazers.
Okay, Portland Trailblazers.
The Knicks are getting C.J. McCollum.
Nice.
Because Portland gets stomped in the playoffs every year. So they don't
want to get there anymore?
Well, they can because they're getting Hardaway Jr., Robinson, and Ntilikina. I mean, I know Hardaway Jr. is not as good as McCollum, but is he that much worse?
Well, my question is he that much worse than it makes making this trade? I'm going to actually say for the Knicks, he's getting $25 million a year for the next 2 years. I don't know if I want McCollum that badly. I don't know if he's better enough for me to like give up on Mitchell Robinson and Ntilikina. Is that ridiculous?
No, I don't think it's ridiculous.
If you said Damian Lillard, I'm all in. But we still need a point guard.
Yeah,
I mean, McCollum's very good, obviously.
I figured fans would burn the city to the ground if they traded Lillard.
Yeah, I mean, I think that'd be kind of insane. But I like the trade. I just don't see it.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, the Hornets. I am trading for Malik Monk and Miles Bridges, and I am giving up Frankie and Burke. So my reasoning here is that what is my reasoning here?
4 busts all swapping places.
Yeah, I guess that really is. I guess Malik Monk hasn't been very good. Ntilikina has not been very good. So you're kind of swapping those guys. And then you're kind of swapping those guys. Can we stop the show for a second?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, let's text back. I'm thinking that yeah, I don't know. I mean, I guess the big thing here for Charlotte is that they want to bail on Miles Bridges this early to make. I don't see the Hornets doing this.
You
What do you?
talk yourself out of it.
Yeah, I don't know. Do you think the Hornets? I feel like the Knicks are more likely to do this than the Hawks are. I mean, than the Hornets are.
Yeah, I think it's too early for Bridges.
And Malik Monk has not been very good, but like, yeah, okay. I'm talking myself out of my own trade. Okay, your turn.
Sacramento Kings. This is a bunch of nothing for nothing. So the Kings trade Randolph and Kufos for Cantor.
Why does anyone do this? I mean, I understand that Sacramento is having a very good year.
Mm-hmm.
Why does Cantor make them better than just keeping Kufos and Randolph?
Well, Randolph hasn't even played.
That's better than what Cantor does on the court.
And Kufos is barely playing.
Again, that's better than what Cantor does on the court.
Well, maybe they think Sacramento is not a very smart team. Maybe they say, hey, we need rebounds.
Are they not a very smart team? Right now they have De'Aaron Fox. They have Buddy Hield. The Knicks have what? They have Bogdanovich. They've actually made Iman Shumpert look like a good player.
I know. I was trying to include Shumpert, and I'm like, no, he's actually playing too good to actually include in these trades.
I don't know if they're a dumb team anymore. There's just not a chance in hell they're doing this trade.
You don't think so?
No, I don't see any. Why would? I mean, the Knicks. I don't know why the Knicks even do this trade either. I guess like you're not getting out of any like for either team. I don't know why you're even showing up to like talk about this trade.
Just to make a trade.
I mean, it's pretty much why the Wizards and Phoenix Suns made a like. There's no one of like both. All those guys will be off the teams next at the end of the year. No one. Cantor does not. Does Cantor benefit Sacramento?
Maybe. I mean, you could probably sell them on that. I mean,
if anything, do you think like Timmy would benefit them? Could they buy into Timmy? Then they have Buddy Hield, so they wouldn't even do that.
Right. Yeah. No, that's why I couldn't do that. I just figured they have Cauley Stein and like nobody else playing center. So
yeah, but like having no one else play center is probably better than having Cantor play center.
I don't think everybody else in the NBA thinks that.
You think the people that are responding to you on Twitter all run the Sacramento Kings? I guess maybe if you throw in Luke Cornett also, so they have two like Cornett and Cantor, so they have two other options they can choose between. So actually, you cannot trade Cornett until June 30th. You can't even do that.
Okay.
I'm not in on your trade, but I like your gumption. Okay, I got two more for you. I got the Heat. The Heat trade here is going to be Whiteside and Dragic and the 2019 first round pick for Cantor, Timmy, and Hezonja. It is 1 a.m. when I made this. I put this together. My argument here is tough to make. So I guess basically, if you're the Knicks, you are giving. So next year you'd be maxed out, but the year after you're basically you get 1 year of relief on Hardaway's contract, and you also get a very very solid, if healthy, point guard in Dragic. So that's why that makes sense for the Knicks.
Almost washed
up, but a veteran. Maybe he could teach Ntilikina how to play and Moody how to play point guard. I don't know. He'd be like, "Hey, everything you're doing, don't do that." So that's the argument for the Knicks, and you get the first round pick. So that's a big deal.
Yeah.
And the first round pick is probably around 18, 19. So that's a solid pick That's a solid pick to give up. You're basically giving up cap space for next year to get a first round pick around 18. Is that solid?
It's not bad.
And you get out of a Hardaway's contract. The argument for the Miami Heat is that Justice Winslow is finally playing really well without Dragic in the lineup. And he's playing kind of a point guard role. Bringing Dragic back, it's not going to help things. Like you probably want to build around Justice Winslow and get out of Dragic's contract.
Yeah.
You're playing better without him. And Hassan Whiteside's contract is god awful for next year.
It is.
So for next year, you are taking in $23 million. Sorry, next year you're just the only contract you have on the books next year would be $17 million from Hardaway of these guys, and you're taking out $43 million from Whiteside and Dragic. So you get out of Whiteside's contract, you get out of Dragic's contract. You can go all in on signing a max player. A max player may actually want to go to Miami. There's a good history of players wanting to go to Miami.
Mm-hmm.
Timmy Hardaway is not a bad player to get. He can obviously score.
I think it makes more sense from Miami's side than it does New York's side.
Well, you don't like the draft pick?
I do like the draft pick. I don't like Whiteside.
Yeah, but I guess really you could cut Whiteside right away. I don't care about Whiteside. You can cut Whiteside right away. I'm totally fine with that. You're getting the draft pick. You get Dragic, a vet at point guard, and you get a year less of Hardaway.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, it's not bad.
Okay,
not bad.
I see you're not buying this for top 5, but
It's
what do you?
It's not bad though.
Okay.
Okay, this one Spurs.
Okay, you seem to be going in alphabetical order.
I am. This is Spurs decide they are close enough to the playoffs that they want to go win now, and the Knicks decide they want cap relief.
Okay, so I think you're giving them Timmy Hardaway and Enes Kanter.
Hardaway and Courtney Lee.
Oh, Hardaway. Okay, both guys that I could see being good in the Spurs, and
right. And the Spurs give up Pau Gasol and Rudy Gay. So this is, like I said, this is complete. The Knicks want to clear up as much cap space as possible. Rudy Gay and Gasol are both expiring.
How much are they? How much? I thought Gay is playing for them.
He's playing, but he's not. I mean, you have Hardaway swapping spots.
Yeah, it's a huge upgrade, and Pau Gasol is kind of near his end of his career.
He's barely playing, yeah.
Yeah.
So
I mean, this would be a good trade for the Spurs. You get a lot of cap.
That could push the Spurs into the playoffs, and
yeah,
and the Knicks get cap relief.
Top 5 worthy. I like it.
All right.
Okay, that was a pretty good one. Okay, my last trade is with the Wizards, and we're going to trade John Wall for KP. Do it. So we got. Okay, I don't think this is great. This was a hard one. We are getting back Ian Mahiney, whichever Morris they have, Markel or whoever.
That's not even a Morris.
What do you mean, Thomas? They get which Morris do they have? They have a Morris. They have
Markieff.
Markieff. I mean, who's?
Right?
What kind of name is that? Markieff. So they have Markieff. His name should be Mark Morris. Okay. Anyway, they
should be Zach Morris.
Yeah. So Mark Morris and Thomas Bryant. The Knicks give up Timmy Hardaway, Courtney Lee, and Trey Burke. The argument here is I couldn't figure out what to do with this. I don't know. I guess the argument here is the Knicks get one less year of Timmy.
Isn't Mahiney like the worst contract in the league?
He's got 2 years, $15 million a year. So I mean, you're giving up. I didn't include a draft pick here either, so I don't know why I did this.
Okay, I don't like this one.
Thomas Bryant, who I honestly have no idea who he is, but he's young and plays center, so why not? I actually could cut all 3 players immediately. I guess the entire trade is about getting 1 year of less of Timmy Hardaway. I guess so. Next year you'd just be on the books for $15 million from Mahiney, versus next year you're on the books for $29 million from Courtney Lee and Timmy Hardaway. So next year you have $14 million for the next year, and then there's $17 million for the year after. So it's a cap space dump for the Knicks.
Right.
Is that worth it? Is it worth dumping enough?
I feel like it's easier to move Courtney Lee without having to take on Mahiney.
Apparently you haven't played this game. Courtney Lee's not that easy to move.
I have. That's why he's been in only like 2 of my proposals.
I'm guessing not top 5 worthy. What do you got?
Utah Jazz.
Okay.
So
By the
this,
way, I like that you didn't go any three-way trades because that would have been goddamn insane.
oh, it would have been way too much. So Courtney Lee, Mario Hezonja, and Frank Ntilikina for
Dante, sorry, go on.
Ricky Rubio and Jay Crowder. So the Jazz can obviously win by 40 points without Ricky Rubio and Jay Crowder.
That's true, but against the Knicks though.
I don't think they want to pay Rubio, and he's going to be a free agent.
And they're not having a great year, so maybe they're not like
Right,
all
ready
in.
to go all in on that. So
And Exum's playing really well. You may
Mhm.
want to make Exum your point guard.
right, and then you can move it. Frank as your backup
Okay, so the Knicks are making this trade because
because Rubio would be the best point guard the Knicks have had in a decade.
are you paying Rubio?
Yeah, you pay Rubio
Okay, how much? How much you paying him?
as little as he would accept. What do you think? Like 10 million, 12 million? I don't know.
So Ricky, how little would you work for? Is that not how negotiations is done?
We want to pay you the least amount possible with getting the most effort out of you.
We're giving them. Who did you say we're giving them again?
Courtney Lee,
Okay.
Hezonja, and Ntilikina. So they get 2 free looks and a vet that can help them now. And Jay Crowder plays some defense. He's kind of, I don't know.
The Knicks could have gotten him in the Dallas trade, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm out. I don't like your trade, but it's fine. It's not a terrible. Do you want to do the top five? I know we've been saying top five. Do we actually want to put it together?
Let's see. I have how many do you have?
I have 1, 2. I'm going to take out the question mark, the Malcolm Brogdon. I'm going to say that we're not going to include that.
Okay.
So I have the Celtics, Gordon Hayward, and Rozier for Timmy and Cantor.
Mm-hmm.
I have Ben Simmons basically for KP.
Mm-hmm.
I have Miles Turner for Robinson and Frankie. And I have Damari Carroll for Courtney Lee. I guess the Miles Turner one's probably not going to happen.
Right.
Okay.
And I would take off Carroll for Lee.
You take off Carroll for Lee. So then I only have 2 then. How many do you have?
I have 3. Let's see if you still like them. I have Cantor and Hezonja for Paul Millsap, and we added a first to that.
Okay. If we add the first, I like it.
Hardaway Jr., Frank Ntilikina, and Mitchell Robinson for Klay Thompson.
Sure. I mean, they're not going to do it, but yeah, sure. Why not?
And
I guess I can put my Miles Turner back there if you're going to put that crazy, insane trade there.
yeah, let's do top 6.
Okay, let's just. Was there one more?
And then I had Gasol and Gay for Hardaway Jr. and Lee.
Okay, you can put these on the site. Okay, let's go to our questions real fast because this show's gone on forever now.
Yeah.
Okay, any emails?
Yeah, we got a bunch of emails.
Oh, that's great. we got while you're pulling that up, Facebook question we had. Question from the podcast: if you could pick top 5 free agents and top 5 potential draftees, given we have a pick inside the top 8, who would they be and why? I like your question. Please, this is from Matt. Ask the question for next week because we've spent we spent 2 hours basically on trades, so I think we're gonna table this.
Yeah.
That fair?
Yeah.
I like the question though. We'll try to do it next week. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Jay.
This is from Peter Dolan, willing to sell the Knicks. I don't know how I feel about this exactly. Sort of like someone who's been in an abusive relationship for so long, but my abuser has finally seemed to change their colors. Conflicted? I mean, we did mention that there's a chance that we get an owner that isn't willing to spend.
Yeah, I mean, the Mets have an owner that's not willing to spend.
And that could be really bad.
That could be really bad. Though there's a floor. I mean, you have to spend a certain amount in the NBA. But yeah, like you want guys that'll go over. You basically want some rich asshole that owns a hedge fund that made billions of dollars. That's happy to like go pay the draft, pay the tax to basically win games.
Yeah. So there is that concern, but there's also the fact that he just has a reputation for being terrible. And having that lifted from the franchise would be nice. That being said, patreon.com/NY Knicks podcast. If we get up to $500 million a month, we will buy the Knicks.
We will be better owners than James Dolan.
Yeah.
I have to say also, if anyone's spending, I think James Dolan wants, $5 billion for the team or $3 billion for the team. If you're giving him that much money for the team, you're probably willing to spend to make the team good.
Maybe. I mean, there's been plenty of other teams that got bought, and then the owners are like, well, that was all my money, so that's it.
That was it. You're like, I took out a subprime mortgage to do that. I don't even have any more money yet. Actually, I'm closing the franchise down.
But look, if we got up to $500 million a month on Patreon, a couple months after we buy the team, we'll also have enough money to spend on the team.
Like we buy the team and suddenly the Patreon, all the fans disappear. We're like, we still need money. You have to keep giving us money. What else you got?
Jorge writes, how surprised are you that Ron Baker is on another NBA team? I think we were both pretty surprised.
I'm shocked. I did not think. I thought he'd spend at least some time in the G League and prove himself there before. But then again, Jason Randall, I'm shocked, was on an NBA team. Like,
Yeah.
Wizards are really bad, huh?
Yeah, really bad.
Did they sign Ron Baker before or after John Wall's injury?
Before.
Wow. Okay.
So my office mate is a Wizards fan, and he has been compiling a list of...
I thought you were going to say, my office mate is a Wizards fan. Anyway, the funeral is this Sunday.
He has been compiling a list of their horrible moves, and he's going to take us a walk through that on one of these upcoming episodes to make us feel better about ourselves.
Oh, have him on soon. I want to get him on soon. I'd like to hear someone else's misery.
Well, we got the Wizards game coming up in 2 weeks, so I think that'll be good timing.
That'd be perfect.
Yeah.
Okay.
Give me a little bit of time to feel a little better so that I can have him over and we can share a whiskey.
Yeah.
Matt writes, hey guys, a recent article by Macri on the Knicks Film School suggests cutting Cantor outright immediately after the ejection last night. I found myself in agreement with the idea, not because I agreed with the call, but because I couldn't care either way. The guy just really is no longer of any value to the team. Meanwhile, Hicks looks pretty good this year, and a rotation of Luke, Mitch, Noah, and Isaiah might be worthwhile developing. Thoughts on both dumping Cantor and making space for Hicks? Happy holidays.
I've not been following Westchester that closely, but what I've seen of Hicks, I haven't been that impressed. But I'd give him a shot in this league. The team sucks. Why not give him a shot? I don't know. The only problem, my only problem with cutting Cantor is that it could hurt the tank.
That is true.
The team is so. We need this draft pick so badly, and Cantor is so good at being the general on the tank.
Yeah, but he barely played the last 2 games, and the Knicks still got stomped. I don't think he's that essential.
Yeah, I mean, the other thing is that, like, let's say you throw Cornette and Mitchell Robinson out there. They both foul out in the first 10 minutes of the game. Who plays center the rest? And Vonleh fouls out also. Like you may just need a body out there.
Yeah, but I mean, maybe you just put, try Hicks. Why not? I mean, we thought Cornette wasn't going to do anything, and he's been pretty good.
I don't think Hicks is big enough to play center.
Who cares?
But
at this point, who cares?
The Knicks are just like, starting center, Trey Burke.
Trey Burke. Who cares? The announcer's just like, who cares?
Knicks just like James Dolan's playing point guard for the next game. The fan that hits a shot at halftime could like start the third quarter.
Starting
You know
center,
what?
Trey Burke, because nothing matters anymore.
You know what was I going to say? So one of the things that I was going to say, one of the things that I shouldn't try to send a text as I'm talking.
You are the worst multitasker.
I'm worst. One of the things that I think Fizdale said is he's a competitive person, and it's strange knowing he knows the team's going to lose a lot of games, so you have to latch on to other things to like as victories for your team because you're not actually getting victories.
Yeah.
So what things should he be latching onto as victories for the Knicks?
Well, the Knicks came all the way back from 40 down to pull within 23 last night.
Yeah. So
They didn't give
Co-
up. They didn't give up.
cover 2 times the spread.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, we nailed it. Twice the spread.
Nobody got injured.
No one died or got Ebola during the game. I guess obviously Knox's development.
The Jazz were up so much that Gobert was forced to sit for almost the entire second half.
I mean, Vonleh shut him down. Then.
They figured out a way to shut him down. I mean, Gobert only had 2 points the entire second half.
That game was atrocious. It was just the Jazz were like, do we have to do 48 minutes of this? Like, just get, is there no mercy rule? I mean, the only argument in the favor of the Knicks is that, like, it's a higher elevation, so maybe that was a little bit harder for the Knicks.
Yeah, no other team has to deal with that.
No one else has to play in Utah.
Not fair.
And the Knicks, in fairness, also they were seen partying with the Latter-day Saints at 3 a.m. at mass. I don't know. There was also people said that Exum is a good goal for Ntilikina.
Mm-hmm.
Exum came in the league being a defensive player, a defensive guy that everyone thought was a great defensive player, but his offense looked really bad, and now he looks like a pretty solid player.
Yeah.
Are you out on Ntilikina? What do you feel on him? Because he's the big guy dividing the Knicks community.
I am very close to being out on him. I just feel like he's gonna be like a barely like 8th, 9th guy on a team. Like I don't think he's gonna be a starter in this league.
I mean, I haven't seen that much to really like say you're wrong. The only thing in his favor right now is that he's still young.
Yeah, remember we said that about Anthony Randolph for like 7 years?
Yeah, some guys just don't stay. It's hard to believe Ntilikina, like he does just shows flashes, and the flashes are good. Like that dunk he had last night, but why does he disappear? Like,
but I mean,
why
is there any other? I guess all teams do this, but like, he got a dunk. Oh my God, there's our flash. Like, I'm super excited now. It's like, okay, he did like one thing.
Then like later on, he dribbled all up, handed off the canter, and ran to the corner and just stayed there the rest of the play.
Yeah.
And there's so many plays also like where he just like defers to whoever else can dribble. He's like, you bring the ball up, but you're the point guard. But Alonzo Trier, you're just so good. You're known for passing. No, I'm not. You dribble the ball up. Okay, I'll see you later. He just defers way too often.
Yeah.
Yeah. Are
you reading more text?
Yeah, sorry. Just text my wife. Okay. Yeah, so do you think Vonleh and Moutier need to be resigned?
No. I mean, need to? I mean, we could, but it's not like, oh my God, these are core pieces. We got to lock them up.
When we sign no one this offseason, will you be fine with him bringing him back?
Well, Frank's still got 2 more years.
No, I'm saying I'm moving on to Vonleh and Moutier.
Oh, Moutier, sorry. I would rather get Vonleh than Moutier.
I think you can get both. We have lots of cap space. Both on 1-year deals with team options?
Yeah. I mean, I'm okay with that. I'm not that excited over Moutier anymore. I was so close to an apology episode, and I don't think I need it now.
He looked so terrible on defense yesterday against the Jazz. He looks so terrible against defense in most games he plays. Okay. Do you think he's back to eating fast food?
Maybe. He's like, well, I had a good 2 weeks, so.
How are you going to celebrate your victory over the Milwaukee Bucks? KFC, then I'm going to McDonald's, then Burger King. Finally, is this a bad? Is this a bad idea? No, this is what I did in Denver, and it all worked out. Okay. Any more emails?
No.
Okay, Aaron, Facebook, only a couple questions. Aaron writes, "Are you guys just happy that Knox is breaking out, and are you just as happy we keep losing games?" Is Knox breaking out?
I think so. Yeah, we haven't even talked about Knox all episode.
Well, he looked pretty bad the last 2 games. That's why.
Yeah, but he had a string of very nice games.
About 8 games in a row where he was playing. I mean, his defense is obviously questionable. He's not passing the ball, but on offense generally, he's looked pretty good. Like for 8, he had a nice 8 games in a row, right?
Yeah.
I think the only guy we have on this team right now that, like, besides KP is Knox.
He had a streak of 5 out of those 8 games. He scored over 20 points.
Yeah, I mean, actually, so I apologize. Robinson also, I think, is still going to be a very good player, but those are the only guys. Everyone else, I'm just like a giant question mark on right now.
Yeah.
Are you happy we're losing games?
Yeah, we obviously don't have enough talent to sign a free agent and then be where we need to be. So getting a good draft pick is gonna really help.
Yeah, I'd be fine if they lost every game going. They are. Is this the first year we've done the show where they've been unwatchable in December?
Yeah, they usually wait till January to crush our hopes.
Yeah, they've had a lot. They've had a big the last few years where they were like good till like January, and then they just fell off a cliff. Now this is just terrible.
Yeah.
Was it last year at this time we were questioning who had a better future, brighter future, the Knicks or Philly? I think the Knicks and Philly had about the same record this year last.
Should I delete
This
that
time-
episode?
What do you say?
Should I delete that episode?
I think around this time last year the records were pretty similar. Philly took off after later in the year, but the records were similar. KP was having a great start to the year.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Eric writes, at this point, our reclamation rankings are number 1, Vonleh, 2, Moutier, 3, Burke, 4, Hazonia. And he said we have to keep Vonleh right. Do you agree with those reclamation rankings?
Yeah. Yeah.
I almost put Burke and Hazonia tied for 3, but I guess Burke is still ahead of Hazonia.
Yeah.
I mean, Burke and
Burke at least has a good game once a month. Hazonia is just. Ugh.
Is Hazonia the biggest surprise in this roster? Just like how bad he's been.
Yeah, I was actually starting to get a little excited about him, and then I don't know what happened with that guy.
I was like, I had to say, like, as far as their offseason moves, I was a huge fan of this signing. He's been so bad.
Yeah.
So Vonleh, I wouldn't mind keeping Vonleh, but I can't even see a multi-year deal. I can see like a 1-year deal with a team option. A 2-year deal even seems a lot for him right now.
He's good. I just think the Knicks are so short on talent that people are going overly nuts.
Yeah, like I was saying, is he good or just the Knicks look really bad? Like, the Knicks just look so bad that he looks good.
That's why it's so hard to gauge. Every season, there's 1 or 2 guys that the fan base basically collectively loves, and then they go on to do almost nothing because it's just they look good surrounded by the rest of the players on the Knicks.
I think he's better than Kyle O'Quinn, but is he that much better? Like Kyle O'Quinn was getting like 15 minutes a night. People said he was really good. People kept all these things about him, and now he can't get off the bench.
Yeah.
On a real NBA team.
Yeah, exactly. I
don't know with Vonleh. He's decent. Like his defense is okay. It's not like he shuts guys. He holds guys to slightly worse All-Star numbers.
Yeah, it's probably above average, but not amazing.
His 3-point shooting, he shoots 2 a game. I'm not exactly going to go like. I don't think he's a stretch center or stretch power forward yet.
Right.
You got to shoot like 5. He doesn't like shooting threes either. Like he hesitates most of the time from 3.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Rich writes, how do we even? Jeffrey writes, is it bad that I get excited when Knox hits a 3 or Vonleh pulls on a rebound because it helps my fantasy team more than it helps the Knicks?
Yeah, I responded to that saying I do the same thing with Cantor, but I had enough of him. So hopefully Wendell Carter Jr. is going to do something.
I'm glad that you got rid of I'm glad that you got rid of Cantor on your fantasy team. By the way, how's your fantasy team doing?
I am about to win 6-3 for the second week in a row, which will put me back into a playoff spot.
Okay, so you're not going to make the playoffs.
We'll see.
Okay. I mean, your team was so good. Oh man, I'm going to win the whole thing. And now how many teams make the playoffs?
8.
Out of how many teams?
14.
So you are excited to go from 9th to 8th. And maybe
10th,
hang on.
10th
After
to
two
8th.
after 2 winning weeks in a row, you barely are moving to 8th.
Well, look, Meritek hasn't played since December 10th. He's coming back.
Okay. No other team has injuries. You're right.
Actually, I'm playing first place right now, and I'm winning because he has Portis, Bagley, Thompson, and Crab that are all injured.
Okay. So
Default.
the greatest 2 words in the English language. Okay. Anything else for today?
No, I think that's more than enough from us.
I hope people enjoyed that. I don't know. I thought it was a fun.
This is going to be a love it or hate it episode.
It was a lot of trades, but like, what else you got? The team is garbage. You can't spend the. Can we spend every episode going? Is Ntilikina going to ever be good? And,
Yeah, I mean, we could have broken down the Knicks' 7 losses since the last episode, but we figured that wouldn't be that fun. So.
I mean, it wasn't fun to watch them. And then like you have the Knox is playing well, but like let's. I like his playing, but what else are you gonna say? Cantor's really bad, but we're gonna spend an hour ranting about Cantor.
Right.
What are we gonna do for next week, Jay? I think we're out of ideas.
This has been our final episode. Thank you for listening.
I guess we'll go through the maybe the free agents and the I don't pay any attention to college basketball this time of year. Are you paying any attention to college basketball right now besides the fact that we know Zion is God?
No.
Okay.
Stay tuned for 29 more trade proposals.
Okay, next week we have to trade KP to every team in the league.
All right. Thanks for listening, everybody. We're nyknickspodcast@gmail.com, nyknickspodcast on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. Our website's thenewyorknickspodcast.com. And I think that's about it. So,
one more thing we forgot to mention. Timmy Hardaway, by the way, has plantar fasciitis. And so that kind of excuses his bad play to a certain degree.
for the last 4 years?
Yes, he was born with it, actually.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Goodbye, everybody. It's all over. Goodbye. It's time to go. This is the end. Say goodbye. You better go away. I'm gonna leave you. It's the end. Goodbye. Goodbye. Just leave me alone. Feels so good to say.